Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the First Universalist Church of Yarmouth. My name is Sarah Whitty. I'm a member of the Worship Council, and I'm so glad to be greeting you this morning. A warm welcome to everyone gathered here on this sunny morning, and a warm welcome to everyone who's able to join us on Zoom. So glad you're here, too. At First Universalist, our mission is to explore our faith, embrace this community, and to engage the world as spiritual seekers. May we take these words to heart. If this is your first time to our congregation, an extra warm welcome. We invite you to fill out the little pew card, the little connection card in the pew right in front of you, put it in the collection plate when it comes around, and then we can put you on the Friday email called Channels. We can connect you to things that are happening and coming up, things that might be of interest to you. For those of us joining with little children, babies, maybe you can go down this hall if you need any time out. Down at the end of the hall on the left, we have a nursery and it's staffed. So you're welcome to go drop in there. And following our service, all are invited to join us for coffee hour, kind of a special one today, right? Pie Sunday, our time of friendship and fellowship right downstairs. Whoop. For more information about church happenings, see your Sunday morning news or come ask us questions at the welcome table downstairs. And a couple of announcements. As I mentioned, there are all kinds of pie. There's a kind of pie for you. And once your pie needs are met, you are welcome to help put things away or clean up pie. You know, just make sure you take care of your own little heart with pie. And second thing, the nominating committee is looking for self-nominations for the board or for any of the church committees for next year. It's a common misconception that you need to have been a member for a long time to serve on a board or committee. So, for example, are you a young adult with youthful enthusiasm and ideals? Are you a new or newish member bringing new ideas? Have you been here a few years and now you think maybe you're ready to get more involved? Or do you have years and years of experience and you'd like to share your wisdom now? We're always striving to represent the congregation in its diversity. And so you're welcome to nominate yourself or someone else even by contacting a member of the nominating committee, Jeff O'Brien, Nancy Reed, or Jeanette Newton. There. You can see them downstairs or we'll help you find them if you come to the welcome table. You can also ask Reverend Hillary or myself, Sarah, if you have any questions about what is it when we serve on the board? What time do you meet? You know, what do you have to do between meetings? And we'll share what we know with you. So in essence, you're just warmly invited to connect here, from singing in the choir to gathering with so-and-sos, yoga, small groups, Lectio Divina, serving on a committee, or just helping with the pie plates downstairs. We can help you with any questions. And now, I invite you to take a deep breath. And we arrive and we settle into this time together. And our music director, Sam Chandler, will lead us into worship and with the choir, right? Yeah.
Thank you, choir. Thank you, Sam. Good morning, everyone. How are you? That's the response on Pi Day? I know that we have no idea what time it is. It feels a little too early to be at church, but how are you? Pretty good, all things considered. I mean, I know. I'm Reverend Hillary. I serve as the minister here, and it is with peace and friendship that I say, whoever you are, wherever you're from, whomever you love, whatever it is you have done or left undone, whether you have come to church today for the church service, or you have come today for the pie after the church service, you are welcome here, and we're so glad you're here with us today. Friends, in honor of this upcoming Friday, March 14th, otherwise known as 3.14, today we celebrate Pi. Pi, that miraculous circular number that stirs and shapes the universe, and Pi, that miraculous circular food that stirs and satisfies our bellies. And we celebrate this miraculous circle of peace and friendship by lifting up the infinite possibilities of this community here and now. First and foremost, though, let's get to the main event and talk Pi with an E. Our words of invocation this morning come from a letter submitted to the New York Times in May of 1902. That spring, a debate had taken place between readers of the paper on whether pie or ice cream was of greater service to mankind. Oh, to live in an age of such virulent partisanship. Pie or ice cream? How about this crowd? Which is of greater service to man and woman and in between kind? Ice cream? How many people say pie? How many people say ice cream? How many people say pie with ice cream? Bipartisanship in action. There is no name attached to this letter to the editor. It is titled simply Pi. Capital P, capital I, capital E, period. And this is just a piece of it. All right, now we're cooking in here. The reader writes, Pie is the food of the heroic. No pie-eating people can ever be permanently vanquished. True, there are doctors who preach against the pie habit and who proceed to search for an antitoxin for the extinction of the pie microbe. But no one has ever known a doctor to refuse a second piece of pie. Pie is the American synonym of prosperity. Its varying contents, the calendar of the changing seasons. And for each season, there is an appropriate pie, with apple pie for the whole year round. Thus, the winter months constitute the mince pie season, this highly spiced, juicy, and meaty composition having the power to maintain the normal temperature of the body in zero weather. With early spring come the light and joyous custard, lemon, and rhubarb pies to quiet the tender yearning for the undefined. The perfect days of June welcome the lip-painting berry pies, which increase in variety through July and until August offers us that luscious peach. And then, just as nature paints the forests with her magic brush, comes the golden glory of the year, the royal pumpkin pie. Pie is the food of the heroic. Good morning. good pie-eating people. As we settle into this time together, let's turn to our neighbors now, ask them how they are, and of course, ask them their favorite kind of pie. And will you rise in body and spirit with me now, friends, and join in singing our opening hymn, number 1008, in your teal hymnal, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. And remaining risen, will you join me in the words of our unison affirmation? They're written in your order of worship. We are united in seeking to increase love with justice and to constitute a free church open to all people, mindful of our past and drawing upon modern knowledge. We respond to the spiritual needs of persons and are devoted to the common good in community, nation, and world. We cherish the integrity of each individual and search for truth with reason as our guide. We respect differences of opinion and strive to be a democratic community. We are concerned with this world and open to the future. You may be seated. And I welcome our friend John to light our chalice. Good morning, John.
Good morning. We're going to light our challenge. May I invite any children who would like to come up and help me light the challenge? And I'd like to say a little bit about what this means to me. You all know we have a campaign called Building on Love. So what is building on love? And that's what is special to me here in this church, because I find whatever I do, we're building on love. When we're digging ditches, we're building on love. And the magic that happens for me is that you're not just building on love, you're adding love to it. So everything we do, it seems like, my goodness gracious, the love just keeps coming. And my best example of that is when I was approached to be part of the worship council, I felt as if this is the job I'm least qualified to do here at the church. And honestly, I was a little frightened, very nervous, and felt like I had almost nothing to contribute month after month. But the thing that kept me going was the love. And I knew eventually I was going to find something to contribute. And it was just simple love. And that's what's so special to me about this church and why I'm so engaged here. So I need a microphone holder. My microphone. And what we're going to do, you remember what we're going to do is we're going to say, we like this challenge, peace and friendship, right? Okay, and then afterwards, we're all going to blow out a special match and make a wish. Okay, here we go. Want to say it? You can, please. Want to say it?
Wait. Light, love, and peace and friendship.
Thanks, everybody. Good morning, Gwen.
So as we've said, today is Pie Day. So can you raise your hand if you like pie?
No, some of them like ice cream. A lot of people do like pie, though. And I think that's also why there is a number of nursery rhymes that feature pie.
Including the Three Little Kittens. Do you remember that one, Hillary?
I do.
Okay, how about everyone else? Anyone else remember that? Three Little Kittens? Some of, not as many as I thought. Okay, you can say it with us if you do.
Okay. I think it goes like this. The three little kittens, they lost their mittens, and they began to cry. Oh, mother dear, we sadly fear that we have lost our mittens. What? You lost your mittens, you naughty kittens? Then you shall have no pie. Meow, meow, meow. Arwen, where are we at? Then you shall have no pie.
And it keeps going. And thankfully, after that, the kittens find their mittens, and they do get pie, and then the mittens get dirty, and it's a whole saga. But they do get some pie, thankfully.
But why do we repeat this nursery rhyme? What message do you think it's trying to tell us? Any thoughts about the moral of the three little kittens who lost their mittens? Pie is a reward. What did you say, Cindy? Others? Mom's the boss. Pie is more special than ice cream. Yeah, there's no, you shall get no ice cream.
Punishment. And consequences. Yeah, so when I was thinking about it, I was kind of like, maybe it's trying to teach you to pay attention to your personal items, or trying to teach you about responsibility.
But the nursery rhyme misses the mark on compassion, don't we think? Compassion towards making mistakes, understanding that we will, in fact, disappoint our mothers at times, along with other people. Can you raise your hand if you've ever lost a mitten or a glove? Yeah. And you still get pie.
And you still get pie. So I think that was about all of us, most of us. And usually what happens when we lose our mittens or our gloves is we kind of cope with cold hands for a bit, or we have to make some new mittens or buy some.
And so we don't really need the threat of no pie. We can figure out that we want warm hands, and we can just keep track of our mittens. We don't need to be punished for having cold hands on top of it all, or paws.
So today, no matter if you've lost mittens once or if you're perpetually losing your gloves, Kai, for example, my wonderful spouse, has to buy new gloves every single winter. You are just calling you out.
No pie.
So you are all still welcome to have pie. Even Kai can have some today.
But before we eat pie, it's time for Children's Chapel and the service to continue. Unfortunately, our friend Mac is sick today, so all the kids will be together in the upstairs classroom. But before we go out this door, let's say our children's blessing together.
We are Unitarian, Universalists, people of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands.
We now come to the time in our service that we set aside for quiet prayer and meditation. I invite you to think of all the people close to you in your life, family and friends, acquaintances, people you care about naturally. And holding them there, now welcome into your mind the beings and people further away who you do not know, who both surround you through your days and live in places you've never been before. Just let them all in as best you can. And take a breath and feel your own body, the preciousness of your own life. And letting your heart and mind and body fill with the knowledge of all the life in this world, known and unknown. Will you repeat after me this short prayer of loving kindness? May we and all beings be happy. May we and all beings be healthy. May we and all beings live in safety. May we and all beings make peace. Amen. Let it be so. Welcome Sarah up again.
In honor of our UU values of equity, and love, half this week's offering is shared with the minister's discretionary fund. Given the high costs of food, fuel, housing, and medical care, people in our community are struggling to make ends meet. Our minister's discretionary fund provides confidential assistance to those in our congregation facing such financial burdens. If you are in need of financial assistance right now, please let Reverend Hillary know. If you're able to give today to support the minister's discretionary fund, your offering is important to our congregation and greatly appreciated. Thank you so much.
Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Take your protein pills and put your helmet on. Ground control to Major Tom. Commencing countdown, engines on. Check ignition, and may God's love be with you. This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade, and the papers want to know whose shirts you wear. Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare. This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door, and I'm floating in the most peculiar way, and the stars look very different today. For here am I sitting in a tin can, far above the world. Planet Earth is blue, and there's nothing I can do. Past 100,000 miles, I'm feeling very still, and I think my spaceship knows which way to go. Tell my wife I love her very much, she knows. Ground control to Major Tom, your circuit's dead. There's something wrong. Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear? Am I floating around my tin can, far above the moon? Planet Earth is blue, and there's nothing I can do.
Thank you, Sam. Sam Ziggy Stardust. Will you rise in body and spirit, friends, and join in singing our song of thanksgiving? Thank you for your generosity. You may be seated. As you were playing that, Sam, I had this vivid memory of sitting in Mass, in Catholic Mass, as a little kid. I went to Catholic school, and I was obsessed with David Bowie from childhood, and I loved that song in particular, for reasons we'll get to in the sermon today. And I used to sing that song through Mass to pass the time in my head. And I was learning guitar, and I was like, G to C to D to F, F, playing it. And I just feel like a full circle. I mean, circles, right? Pi, I just full circle right there. I think I have found the congregation I'm supposed to be in. At any rate, our reading today is by the Nobel-winning poet and writer Wisława Szymborska. Did I get that right, Kathy? Wisława Szymborska? Okay, thanks. Polish poet. I share her poem, Miracle Fair. Commonplace miracle, that so many commonplace miracles take place. The usual miracle, invisible dogs in the dead of night. One of many miracles, a small and airy cloud is able to upstage the massive moon. Several miracles in one. An alder is reflected in the water and is reversed from left to right and grows from crown to foot and never hits bottom, though the water isn't deep. A run-of-the-mill miracle, winds mild to moderate, turning gusty in storms. A miracle in the first place. Cows will be cows. Next, but not least, just this cherry orchard from just that cherry pit. A miracle, what else can you call it? The sun rose today at 3:14 a.m. and will set tonight at 8:01. A miracle that's lost on us. The hand actually has fewer than 6 fingers, but it's still got more than 4. A miracle, just take a look around. The inescapable earth. An extra miracle, extra and ordinary. The unthinkable can be thought. On March 8th, 1969, Rusty Schweikart finally had a few minutes to look around and take in the view. For 5 days leading up to this moment, Rusty and his 2 shipmates had been working nonstop aboard the Apollo 9 spacecraft. They had 10 days worth of fuel, food, and oxygen to complete their mission, testing various mechanisms of a lunar module that hopefully very soon would land a human on the moon. As one can imagine, on such a short timeline with such an astronomical task, there was not a lot of spare time to just float around and gawk at things. And the day that Rusty finally did have a chance to gaze uninterrupted at the cosmos was not the day anyone was expecting some downtime. You see, Rusty was completing the first ever free float in space that day, testing a portable life support system that an astronaut could potentially wear while walking on the moon. All was going according to plan, and Rusty's co-pilot, Dave Scott, wanted to take some photos of the moment to share with Houston. But then, as he pressed the shutter, the camera jammed. It's the little things, you know. "Rusty, don't go anywhere. Stay right where you are," Scott radioed. "Give me 5 minutes to fix this." Rusty, who up to that moment had been spending every waking hour testing, measuring, and detailing very, very specific calculations about this spacewalk, surely employing that weird number pi as he did, he had hardly had a moment to realize he was hurtling around the Earth at 25,000 miles an hour, much less appreciate that fact. But now, as he said in interviews, I had 5 minutes of unemployment in outer space, so I took some me time. He told himself to just be here now. Facing the lunar module, he pulled his left arm back and turned around. "I looked at the Earth below," he said, "and the black space above, and the sun over my shoulder, and I mean, it was incredible. The most spectacular view. The Earth was so small and so fragile, and such a precious little spot in the universe. And I was just floating there as though I was naked in total silence. And I thought, just let this come in." Gazing out at planet Earth, our living home, Rusty said a question overtook him. Who am I? Am I me, or am I us? And then, "All right, Rusty, I can't get it to work. Come on in. We'll run the numbers." And that was it. Back to work. But what Rusty Schweikart experienced as he gazed at the Earth for those few minutes stayed with him, more than any other aspect of that game-changing mission, in fact. Upon his return to Earth, it's what he talked about and what he continued to ponder for the rest of his life. He's 89 now and still talking about what he felt and thought up there in interviews and in lecture halls. A miracle. Just take a look around. The inescapable Earth. While Rusty was the first astronaut to go on record describing the transcendent experience he had in space, he was far from the only person to ever experience it. This state of cosmic awe today is known as the overview effect, a term coined by Frank White, a space philosopher. Yes, that is a job you can have in life. You can be a space philosopher. White, inspired one day as he looked out the window during a cross-country flight at the beautiful, bruised, and living land below him, became curious what it must be like to be an astronaut looking down at the whole Earth. So he interviewed dozens of astronauts about their experiences in space, and again he heard the same things. Life-changing epiphanies about unity and interconnection, the relinquishing of any concept of borders or ownership or an identity separate from others, a deep love and protectiveness towards the Earth, a deep longing for Earth as though one were a child in the Earth, the mother. And Sally Ride, the first woman in space, talked about the deep grief she felt for the Earth upon viewing war zones and wildfires and floods below. In one interview, James Lovell, an astronaut aboard Apollo 8, the first mission to orbit the moon, explains, "When we originally went to the moon, our total focus was on the moon. We weren't thinking about looking back at the Earth, but after looking back at it, I think that's the whole reason we went. A miracle, extra and ordinary. Just look around." After writing a renowned book on the overview effect and continuing to study it for the past 40 years, Frank White, space philosopher, still does not fully understand what it is or why it happens to some people and not to others. If you want to see two types of humanity in action, just check out the video of William Shatner sobbing about the preciousness of planet Earth as Jeff Bezos hoots and hollers and sprays him with champagne following their recent voyage on a Blue Origin rocket. And while Frank White hasn't got it all figured out, he recently published an article explaining that he believes the overview effect can be summarized in 3 words: truth, love, identity. Truth. The overview effect confronts us with the truth that while we feel we are living on stable ground, our Earth is in fact a fragile, dynamic part of a great and ever-shifting universe. He writes, "The truth is that we don't go into space. We are already in space. We always have been and always will be." Love. Many astronauts confess that they cry upon first seeing the Earth from a distance and feel an all-consuming love for the planet, like the love you have for your partner or children or parents, but even bigger. An identity. When astronauts originally see the Earth from afar, they first look for their hometowns and states and countries, but quickly realize that their true identity is as a human, as an Earthling, as part of the whole thing. You may not ever be an astronaut, White concludes, but if you've ever really, really loved somebody, and if you've ever really cared about the truth and knowing the truth, and if you've ever felt a shift in your identity through a powerful experience of awe, you know what the overview effect is all about. An extra miracle, extra and ordinary. The unthinkable can be thought. As I've mentioned before, an astronaut was what I wanted to be when I grew up. But the spirit of life did not bless me with a mind for math, nor physics, nor, if you can believe it, even rocket science. Thus, my life took a different path. Nonetheless, I have spent a lot of time learning and thinking about being in outer space, and often I wonder what the overview effect is like. Stumbling across this article this week, though, and reading that the overview effect is defined by truth, love, and identity, I felt my astronautical longings unexpectedly soothed, and my ministry, our ministry, affirmed. Because, well, acknowledging the truth of our uncertain life, letting our hearts break open with love for the world, and honoring that our identities are interconnected with all beings is the crux of our faith, is the purpose of our faith practices. The overview effect is what we're trying to do and feel and be here. And I don't know about you, but I often think we're really doing it. We're pretty good at it. And we're feeling it and we're being it here. And hopefully out there too. It's all about bringing it back to earth, you know? I keep saying it. I know I keep saying it, but I keep feeling it, my friends. This here is so unique. It's so precious, so full of possibility. Earlier in this service, amidst this world right now, we heard good news. We lit lights of joy and felt that joy together. That's special. In these times of corruption and distrust, these times of loneliness and solitude, these times of biases and bigotry, here we uplift and practice truth and love and shared identity together. I think you all probably know this because you're here, but there really, really are not a whole lot of places like this. A miracle. Just take a look around. Extraordinary. Extraordinary. Friends, as I imagine most of you know at this point, we are in the midst of a comprehensive capital campaign right now. Campaign we're calling Building on Love. And yes, this is a segue from outer space to my sermon on the amount. The life of a UU minister. We're inviting pledges this month from members and generous friends who wish to contribute to this campaign. A campaign that, if successful, will not only cover 3 years of operating expenses, but also cover necessary renovations at 95 Main, where 4 people in need of affordable housing make their home, cover renovations in our beautiful kitchen, where a whole lot of pie awaits us right now, and cover renovations here in our beautiful sanctuary, where you beautiful people gather with your broken and open hearts each week. Pledging to Building on Love is different than pledging to our annual campaign. Rather than make a pledge to cover next year's expenses, we're inviting everyone to make a pledge that will cover the next 3 years of operating expenses, as well as our Building on Love projects. Now, my friends, I know the world, how to make a financial commitment right now, looking 3 years out. My advice, as best you can, meaning however feels best and honest to you. This campaign is something to feel good about, and participating in it should not be a source of angst, rather a source of joy. Since we are a UU church, we are governed by something called congregational polity, which means that this is our church, our spacecraft to steer. We are a self-funded organization. There's no diocese or outside body that covers the costs of what happens here. From the heat, to the lights, to the staff salaries and benefits, to the RE budget and printer paper, all of it is supported by financial commitments from members and friends. How amazing. What a miracle that you make all of this happen. Wouldn't exist without you. This said, not a single dollar here ever goes to waste. And even if you can only pledge $1, I can guarantee it will be used wisely and well. As I do each year, I have made a financial commitment to our campaign. I'm going to pledge $3,200 a year, and therefore will submit a pledge for $9,600 for the next 3 years. I determined this amount by looking at my giving history, which averaged about $2,700 a year. Math, I used a calculator, Marge. Used a calculator. On top of this average pledge, I'm contributing $500 additional a year, all of it to be used by the Stewardship and Building on Love Steering Committee. I trust them and their wisdom completely. This amount stretches my generosity muscle, flexes my mindset of abundance, and feels good, honest, and doable to me. You might be able to give more. You might be able to give nowhere near this amount. Please follow my lead, beloved, and do what feels right. I pledge, because I would never ask you to do something I wouldn't do myself. And I pledge, because I believe in this church and places like this church. I need it as much as you do. And I want us to flourish. Because right now, we have to flourish. Are you kidding me? This is a miracle. Just take a look around. Take it all in. This view, this feeling, this truth, this love. Let's build on it. We gotta. Blessed be the love we have and build upon here and everywhere. Let it always be so, and along the way, let there always be pie. Amen, and may it be so. Our closing hymn is number 1064, Blue Boat Home.
Low below me, I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still I drive and talk and say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. My universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue as I fly the starry sea. Casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, only kindred souls, leading away by the lights of heavens. Thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on. Greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor nor port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat.
Will you remain standing for a closing benediction? And again, all are welcome. There's so much pie downstairs. I won't talk. I know that's what we're waiting for. I'll stop talking. If you need a quiet space to eat your pie, the common room is open today if you want to just sit and chill a little bit, or you can eat it in our bustling gathering room space. All right. May all beings be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings experience profound joy and the causes of profound joy. May all beings feel a shared identity with every other living being on this planet, opening their hearts and letting it all come in until all get free. And will you join me in the words of our unison benediction? For those who come here seeking God, may God go with you. For those who come embracing life, may life return your affection. For those who come to seek a path, may the way be found and the courage to take it step by step. And I welcome our choir to sing us a parting blessing.
Go in peace.